This is the story of Echo's Whisper. The old Victorian mansion loomed above me, silhouetted against the bruised sky. Rain lashed against its boarded windows, each drop echoing the beat of my erratic heart. This was Blackwood Manor, and it held secrets that echoed through the generations. Much like the whispers that haunted my dreams, I, Echo Blackwood, had returned to my ancestral home after a decade in self-imposed exile. My grandmother, the last Blackwood, had passed away, leaving me the sole inheritor of our bloodline and this house brimming with shadows. As I pushed open the groaning door, the scent of dust and decay washed over me, mingling with the sweet, cloying fragrance of honeysuckle, a scent inextricably linked to my grandmother's memory. The house was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each with its own story etched into the peeling wallpaper or the faded grandeur of a bygone era. But it was the whispers that truly captivated me. They slithered through the halls, weaving tales of love, loss, and lingering presences. The whispers grew louder as dusk settled, painting the sky in hues of violet and despair. Drawn by an unseen force, I ascended the grand staircase, its polished mahogany banisters cold beneath my touch. At the top landing, a portrait caught my eye, a woman with haunting eyes gazing out from the canvas. It was my great-great-grandmother, Elara Blackwood, the first of our line to bear the burden of our blood. According to family law, she had made a pact with an entity from beyond, granting her immortality in exchange for the souls of her descendants. Could this be the source of the whispers? Were they the echoes of those souls trapped in this house for eternity? As the first stars pricked the darkening sky, I sought refuge in the library, its towering shelves offering a momentary distraction from the whispers. A leather-bound journal lay open on a desk, its yellowed pages filled with spidery script. It was my grandmother's diary, a chronicle of her life here in Blackwood Manor. In the final entry, dated exactly 10 years ago, she wrote of hearing the whispers growing stronger, of sensing a presence growing impatient. Had she been taken by the very force I now felt closing in on me? Did my return somehow signal the completion of whatever pact she had made? A sudden crash from above shattered the quiet, and I spun around, my heart hammering against my ribs. I was not alone in this house. Moving like a wraith through the gloom, I made my way to the source of the noise, my senses on high alert. I found one of the attic trapdoors slightly ajar, and my curiosity, perhaps my morbid fascination, compelled me to investigate further. I pulled the door open, revealing a dusty, cobweb-filled space. Moonlight streamed through a grimy window, illuminating a figure kneeling beside an ornately carved wooden chest. Startled, I called out, my voice echoing in the confined space. The figure turned, and I gasped. It was a young man, no older than I was, with tousled dark hair and eyes that shimmered like polished obsidian. But it was his skin that truly shocked me. It was devoid of any color, as white as bone, as smooth as marble. An otherworldly beauty radiated from him, yet something in his demeanor hinted at profound sadness. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice catching in my throat. He rose, and in that moment I realized the truth. I knew him, or rather, I had known him once. Lucian Blackwood, my cousin, my only living relative besides myself, or perhaps I should say formerly living, for looking at him now, it was clear he was more spirit than flesh. Echo, he breathed, his voice like the rustling of dry leaves. I thought you had come back to join me. His words struck me like a physical blow. So this was the source of the whispers, the lingering presence my grandmother had sensed. Lucian had died a decade ago, or so I had assumed, yet here he was, tethered to this house and inexplicably unchanged. But how? Why was he here? What did he mean when he spoke of me joining him? Fear warred with a burgeoning sense of foreboding. I wanted to flee, to escape this house and its ghostly inhabitants, yet something kept me rooted to the spot. It was the echo of a shared bloodline, the pull of familial duty, or perhaps the dawning realization that I, too, was a vessel of our Blackwood legacy. Lucian stepped closer, and I noticed the faint outline of wings etched into the fabric of his shirt, a detail I remembered from a happier time. When we were children, we used to spend hours playing make-believe in the attic, creating fantastical stories where we soared through the skies on gossamer wings. Our innocent laughter must have echoed through these very rafters, mocking me now with its absence. Why are you here? I managed to croak, my throat constricted with emotion. Why have you stayed? Because I was waiting for you, he replied, his voice a caress, yet edged with urgency. We need to complete the ritual, Echo. Only then can I finally find peace. Ritual. The word hung in the air between us, charged with meaning and menace. Suddenly, the whispers intensified, swirling around us in a cacophony of voices. They clawed at my sanity, desperate, pleading, threatening. Each whisper was a story, a life cut short, a soul imprisoned within these four walls. I stumbled back, overwhelmed, and Lucian reached out, his touch sending shivers down my spine. Don't be afraid, he murmured, his obsidian eyes boring into mine. It will be over soon, but his words did little to quell the tremors that racked my frame. Over. What was he talking about? What ritual? As the whispers crescendoed, I felt a growing sense of dread. My blood ran cold. Was I merely a pawn in a game played by forces beyond my comprehension? Was my very existence here to serve some greater, perhaps sinister purpose? Before I could question him further, Lucian took my hand, his touch sending a jolt of energy through me. I wanted to pull away, to break free of his grasp, yet something compelled me to stay. We moved as one, guided by unseen hands, down the attic stairs and into the depths of Blackwood Manor. Each step took me further into a nightmare from which there seemed to be no awakening. I felt the weight of countless eyes upon me, the lingering spirits of our bloodline, their presence thick and cloying, like the scent of honeysuckle. I wanted to scream, to shatter the suffocating quiet, but no sound escaped my lips. We came to a halt before a hidden door concealed behind a tapestry, its surface cool and unyielding beneath my touch. The whispers ceased, replaced by an oppressive silence that pressed in on me, making it hard to breathe. "What is this place?" I whispered, my voice hoarse with fear. "The Nexus," replied Lucian, his tone reverent. "The heart of Blackwood Manor. Here, the veil between worlds is thinnest." He placed a hand on the door, and his touch sent a shock of energy through me, awakening dormant powers I never knew I possessed. He opened the door, and I peered inside. A spiral staircase descended into darkness, promising untold mysteries and unspeakable horrors. "What are we doing here?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Completing the ritual echo. "Are you ready?" "Ready? Ready for what?" I cried, my terror rising with each heartbeat. "To become what we were meant to be," he said, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. "To embrace our destiny." As I stared into his fathomless eyes, I saw not my cousin, but something ancient, something powerful, something that had slumbered for centuries until my arrival. And in that moment, I understood. Echo Blackwood was not just a descendant of a bloodline. I was its newest vessel, a conduit between the worlds of the living and the dead. And my journey had only just begun.